Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new Wings Necrozma team, and this is one of the first times I'm bringing actually a Trick Room team to this new channel, so I put a lot of effort into this one and I think it's a very fun team. So let's break this down. Before we get into that, as I always do, please consider subscribing to the channel. That helps me a ton. And if you like this content, if you like the kind of teams I'm bringing, don't forget to leave a like on the video. I really appreciate it. So, let's begin. Necrozma. What is Necrozma Dawnwind supposed to do on this regulation? So, Necrozma is a special attack. Remember, like, Necrozma Dawnwinds is the fusion between Necrozma, regular Necrozma, and Lunala. So, it has access to Lunala's signature move, Moongeist Beam. But it is actually lower than Lunala, because Lunala is, I think, base 97 speed, I think, or something like that. But Necrozma gets a little bit slower. 77 base speed, but it gets actually stronger, right? So it gets 157 special attack compared to Lunala's 130 something. So it's like almost 20 points more. And that's nice. That's nice. It's a strong special attacker. It has 109 defense, 127 base special defense. So pretty weird numbers for the defenses and everything. But yeah, HP is 97 and speed 77. So Necrozma is slower than Lunala, so it might work better in Trick Room. That is the main idea here. It is stronger and slower, so it is more ideal, I would say, for a Trick Room composition. That's why we're using this Trick Room team today in this episode. So Necrozma is going to be using this moveset of Meteor Beam, Expanding Force, right? Expanding Force is Psychic type and Ghost type, so has access to Expanding Force, and we are going to be pairing that with Indeedee's Psychic Terrain, Moongeist Beam, and Trick Room with the Power Herb item. And its ability is a little bit sometimes useless, let's be honest, but it could be useful in some specific scenarios. Prism Armor. What does this ability actually do? It is an ability that reduces the damage taken from super effective moves. Necrozma's typing is actually pretty bad defensively, so even with this ability, you're not taking a very powerful 4x super effective Ghost or Dark move, even with the 25% reduction. Honestly, I would prefer if they kept, for example, Lunala's Shadow Shield. But yeah, Priest Armor sometimes can help against non-stab or not very powerful Dark or Ghost moves, but usually it's going to be a lot of damage. So Meteor Beam is the, let's say, the main reason why you have this set, because it increases your special attack by 1 point. When you use the move, of course, you have Power Herb to be able to use that move in only 1 turn instead of the 2 turns it usually needs to charge and then land the attack. It is a Terra Normal Wings Necrozma because it is better against Shadow Rider that way. Like, people probably would put like Terra Fairy here because it obviously allows you to resist dark moves if you Terastallize. However, I have, follow me in this team, so I figure like dark moves are usually single target, right? Unless you're facing like Snar, but Snar is a really weak move, so people that use Snar against you is just for the special attack reduction most likely. And Dark Urshifu or other dark moves like Dark Pulse are single target moves, so I can redirect that with Will-O-Wisp, with Follow Me, sorry. However, Astral Barrage is the premier move on Calyrex-Shadow Rider, and I cannot redirect that. So that's where the Terra Normal is going to come into play to be able to ignore completely that move from the strongest, probably the strongest Pokemon in the game right now. So that's the idea of Wings Necrozma. This team is max HP, max special attack. But keep in mind, even though I said Necrozma Dawnwings is slower than Lunala, I am not using Necrozma Dawnwings with a hindering nature and speed or with min speed either. No, it is a neutral nature. It's just modest with 4 speedy Vs. The idea is like, even though it's slower than Lunala, as I've been saying, it is actually still faster than Incineroar, right? It's faster than Calyrex-Ice Rider. So out of Trick Room, you can actually get to use your speed stat and outspeed things before setting up the Trick Room. So that was like the idea, is like a middle speed Pokemon that has access to this set with Trick Room and some interesting partners that can help it to perform the best possible way, like Indeedee. But at the same time, you can actually outspeed Incineroar and just attack it and get the one shot with Meteor Beam, unless the Incineroar you're facing is a Salvez. If it's not a Salvez, you should always get the KO, assuming no Terra, of course. And then I've been saying, you know, that this team has Indeedee. So why Indeedee? Of course, it's pretty obvious. You get the Psychic Terrain, but not only you make Expanding Force actually very strong, because remember, Expanding Force is 80 base power move that becomes 120 base power if Psychic Terrain is up, and becomes spread damage if Psychic Terrain is up. If not, it is only a single target attack. And obviously, it also gets the boost from the Psychic Terrain itself, which is 30% boost on Psychic moves. So pretty powerful. Moonguy's Beam is a Lunala's signature move that Wings Necrozma can use. And it's a move that ignores the opponent's ability. Keep that in mind. So if you're facing, let's say, Mimikyu with Disguise, Moonguy's Beam is going to ignore the Disguise, and it's actually going to go through it, and it's going to potentially just KO the Mimikyu. You can also ignore, for example, Dondoso's Unaware. That's pretty interesting. If your Lunala is boosted with the Power Herb, let's say it's a +1, I said Lunala, sorry. If your Dawn Wings is boosted by the Power Herb, previously, if you use Expanding Force, for example, that is not going to account for Dondoso's Unaware. But if you use Moonguy's Beam and only Moonguy's Beam, this move is going to ignore Unaware, so it's actually going to factor your +1 special attack, which I think is pretty nice in some scenarios. Sometimes you just forget about that mechanic, but it's actually really good. And then we have Indeedee for a Psychic Terrain, as I said, to make Expanding Force stronger. You also can use it, and you should always use it against Miraidon teams to get rid of the Electric Terrain. Psychic Seed on Indeedee just to help her be as bulky as possible on both sides of the spectrum. You have max defense on this Indeedee, physical defense, and then with Psychic Seed, you also get to increase your special defense once you send Indeedee to the battle, and that is very helpful into special attackers. It is a Dazzling Gleam, Follow Me, Trick Room, Helping Hand Indeedee, pretty standard. With Terra Water, that's the only difference. The Terra Water was preferred, in my opinion, instead of a Fairy Terra, because I wanted to resist very powerful water type attacks like Kyogre's Water Spout, like Urshifu's Certain Strikes in the rain, for example. Sometimes you really need that to actually get to set up the Trick Room, so I felt Water Terra was slightly better. And it also allows you to survive or resist, Glacial Lance, for example, from Calyrex-Ice Rider. It's an Indeedee that is max defense, max HP, and has a hinder nature on speed. It's not mean speed, but the idea is like you can be slower than Rillaboom and like set up the terrain second, so you get to keep your Psychic Terrain. Ogerpon Cornerstone. I think Ogerpon Cornerstone is an amazing addition for any hard Trick Room team. Why? Because it has Sturdy and Follow Me. So we have two Follow Me users. Ogerpon can be the preferred one when you want something that you know is always going to survive one attack because of the Sturdy, and also has a very nice offensive typing. With the Sturdy, you know it's always going to survive in 1 HP, any attack that is not a multi-hit. And the moveset on this one is almost standard, but I have one specific move here that is usually not seen, like Taunt. It has Ivy Cut Jill, which is going to be a rock type. Of course, Follow Me, Wood Hammer, and Taunt. I decided to give up Spiky Shield, which initially I was a little bit, you know, not in favor of, but then I realized that you really need Taunt, and I didn't want to give up the other offensive moves, and obviously you want Follow Me in a Trick Room team. So I was like, okay, Spiky Shield must go, and that's okay for the most part because of how the dynamic of this team actually works. So why Wood Hammer instead of something like Power Whip or Horn Leech if Wood Hammer is gonna you know, force you to take recoil? The idea of Wood Hammer is obviously cannot miss, but most importantly, why the recoil option on a Pokemon that is supposed to have Sturdy. Sometimes you want Ogerpon to actually go down because that is going to allow you to, you know, be able to bring a stronger Pokemon, a slower and stronger Pokemon for the Trick Room environment. So let's say someone attacks you really powerful with something really powerful and you survive with 1 HP, you can Wood Hammer, and then the recoil is going to force Ogerpon to go down, therefore allowing you to bring a Torkoal or a Sylveon or something in Trick Room. That is the main idea here. Obviously, if you want to keep your Sturdy, you just don't use it, but if you really want to potentially give your partner a free switch in, you can use it. Taunt is important to stop imprisoned Pokemon. Like if you face imprisoned Pokemon, you can taunt them, and then Indeedee can set up the Trick Room without having to worry about being, stuck there without being able to click it. You can also stop other moves like Follow Me. You can stop sometimes setup mons from going from Calmine or Nasty Blood or Swords and things like that. Annihilape, Annihilate, really, really powerful Trick Room Pokemon because of the final Gambit move. It has a Choice Scarf, it's max speed Jolly, and has max HP, so your final Gambits hit as hard as possible. For those of you that don't know, Final Gambit is a move that does exactly the same damage to the opponent as Annihilape's current HP. So if you have max HP on Annihilape, I think you hit 217. And that means that you're going to do 217 damage to whatever target you pick. Assuming it's not a Ghost type, because Final Gambit is a fighting move, so Ghost types are immune to it. And obviously, that works with your current HP. So if Annihilape took some damage, then it's going to be whatever the current HP is. So that's really nice. Annihilape obviously goes down after using Final Gambit, so you're trading a Pokemon for a Pokemon. But for a Trick Room team, that trade-off is actually really, really useful sometimes. You eliminate something that you don't like or that you think is going to give you a hard time, and then your Trick Room component, and you set up Trick Room immediately that same turn, and then your Trick Room component is going to have probably a better time. The other moves are just filler. Shadow Claw, eventually you might click it. It's not something you're going to be clicking most of the times. Close Combat if you need some like damage on the physical side against dark types. And then Taunt. Choice Scarf Taunt can be sometimes useful just to keep, the momentum on your side against things that can be annoying. For example, a Smeargle or something. Because Annihilape is a Ghost type, so they cannot fake you out. So you can cover Smeargle with like the Ghost typing, they cannot fake you out, and you can also taunt Smeargle so they cannot just start doing Smeargle things, right? Terra Grass was preferred just in case you really need to Final Gambit something that is next to a Mungus and you want to avoid being redirected by Rage Spotter, for example. That's the only idea behind this Terra type. And then here I have the two Trick Room, let's say, heavy hitters or sweepers sometimes. Sylveon and Torkoal. Sylveon was picked because it is a very strong and slow fairy type, right? Wings Necrozma and Indeedee are both psychic types, so you're actually weak to dark types, like, for example, Dark Urshifu, let's say, or something like, I don't know, Umbreon, right? Or maybe something like Grimmsnarl that can be annoying. Well, Sylveon is a fairy type that has access to Hyper Voice, so you have a very powerful spread fairy type attack. Hyper Voice is actually a normal move. Obviously, you probably might know this, but Sylveon has a Pixelate ability which transforms normal moves into fairy moves and boosts them a little bit. I think it's 20% boost. So Hyper Voice, Terra Blast, Hyper Beam are all normal moves that become fairy type because of Sylveon's ability. Terra Blast is a single target move that you can use if you don't Terra. It would be a fairy move. If you do Terra into a water type, which is a Terra I preferred here, it's going to become a water move. Remember that interaction. Hyper Beam is if you just need to get rid of something that the other moves are not going to be able to, you can go for it. It's going to be very, very powerful. It has a 10% chance of missing, by the way, but you don't want necessarily to think about potentially missing. And then Sleep Talk. Why Sleep Talk? In case you are put to sleep by a Mungus Spore, or if you need to switch into a Spore, you can switch in Sylveon, they put it to sleep, and then you click Sleep Talk, which is going to pick randomly one of the three moves you have, which sometimes can be all you need to win a game. Terra Water, why Terra Water? Because that resists Steel if you really need, and also resists like Kyogre and Urshifu Water, and gives you an option to Oko Incineroar with Choice Specs Terra Blast Water. That can be able to one-shot Incineroar, depending on Incineroar's EV spread, of course. And then lastly, Torkoal, pretty self-explanatory. You want to hit as hard as possible in Trick Room. Torkoal is a really, really slow and strong sweeper with access to her option in the Sun and Charcoal. Terra Fire is just really, really powerful. Then I picked Weather Bolt instead of Heat Wave because I wanted something single target to bypass Wide Guard. And then finally Clear Smog, which is a little bit tricky here. The idea is like Dondozo can be sometimes annoying. Having extra ways to touch Dondozo with Clear Smog, getting rid of their boost could be nice. And also some Calmine Pokemon like Calmine Lunala sometimes can be a thing. If you're in Trick Room and Lunala got like a lot of Calmines up, your Torkoal might not be able to do anything, so you can Clear Smog their boost, and then your partner like Sylveon, for example, or Wings can actually do a lot of damage. That's the idea in case you face something like that, and then obviously Protect. This is how our Trick Room team, so most members of the team don't have Protect. Torkoal being the only one that has protect, because sometimes that is needed in case you want to like protect and trick room with your trick room setter. That's it, guys. This is the rental team is in the right side of your screen. We're going to be using this team for a couple of battles today and another video also coming soon. And obviously, if you want also to check the EV spreads, you can find the Pokebase in the description down below. Let's begin with the first match of the day. And we found our first opponent of the day. We're playing against someone from Asia. Let's see what they have. They have a Calyrex-Ice Rider team with Amoonguss, Raging Bull, Urshifu, Calyrex, Fluttermane, and Incineroar. Okay. I wonder what kind of Urshifu that is. It could be a Dark Urshifu, could be also Water Urshifu. Something I forgot to mention actually is like Ogerpon is actually very bulky. I'm using a very specific EV spread. It is able to survive Terra Water Surging Strikes. I decided to go a little bit off, unconventional with this Ogerpon spread. You usually want max speed and max attack on the cornerstone because it has sturdy, but I realized that Terra Water Surging Strike sometimes can KO you through sturdy, so I wanted to be bulky to take that. And it has almost no attack. Yeah, so they have a Amoonguss. Their Fluttermane could have Taunt, theoretically, right? So maybe I want to lead with Dawn Wings. It might be Dark Urshifu. What do I do if it's Dark Urshifu? I might just go with Ogerpon. And then Torkoal in the back. And Indeedee, I think. Well, there's a Raging Bull. I might want to bring Sylveon, actually, instead of Torkoal. Yeah, let's go with Sylveon. Let's give Sylveon a try. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about the Amoonguss, but theoretically I have Wings Necrozma, so obviously Amoonguss is a poison type, so it's weak to psychic moves. But sometimes, obviously, it can still be annoying because it's going to be slower than the Necrozma. It's going to put me to sleep. But I'm bringing Double Follow Me because that's usually what you want to do with this team. I'm not bringing an Annihilape this time because the opponent has a Fluttermane, which can be boost their energy, and you cannot final gambit that thing. Urshifu Raging Bolt. Okay. So the thing is here, like, obviously Calyrex is slower than Dawn Wings Necrozma, so I might not want to actually Trick Room. I'm gonna Meteor Beam, and I'm gonna Wood Hammer into the Urshifu slot. Oh, they're not Scarf. They are Focus Sash. Okay. So we're taking a lot of recoil here, but the close combat, yeah, to eliminate the Ogerpon from play, that's okay. It's 1 HP, the Urshifu. Let's see who is faster here. They are faster, okay. That Electro Web did so much damage. It's live for Raging Bull with Electro Web. Huh. Life for Raging Bull with Electro Web is something I haven't seen that much. This almost gets a KO. So I have to bring Indeedee now. And -1 speed with this thing. So I imagine that is going to make it slower than Calyrex. Almost positive. Like, it's gonna depend how, how the Calyrex is trained, because maybe the Calyrex is mean speed in this team. Usually they're not mean speed. They just go like Adamant with like 31 IVs. But have Sylveon in the back. I wish I had Torkoal this time. So I'm gonna Trick Room and Follow Me, I think. I might lose Indeedee. Let's see. They go for Surging Strikes or Close Combat? Surging Strikes. That is not going to KO Indeedee, but the attack from Raging Bull should KO Indeedee unless they go for Electro Web again. They went for Draco Meteor, okay. So that is going to ensure the knockout. That is going to ensure the knockout. And instead of the Trick Room, so I imagine they go for a double protect here. Right? So I'm actually... Who's slower? Sylveon should be slower, right? So I'm actually going to go for Meteor Beam. Because they're going to go for Protect. And Hyper Voice is going to get the job on both. Oh, they didn't go for Protect. That's fine, because I already used my Meteor Beam, so using this turn to charge, knowing that your opponent is either going to Protect or just let both go down, seems good to me. Now the question is, what is the last one, right? Like, we know, we should expect it's Calyrex-Ice Rider, but what is the last one? Is it a Mungus? Please don't be a Mungus. That's a Mungus. It is a Mungus. And Calyrex-Ice Rider. So unfortunately it is a Mungus and we don't have a way to stop the Spore. I'm going to tear the Sylveon just because, of course, I want to resist Glacial Lance at least. But Hyper Voice is probably a 3-shot on Calyrex. Maybe not even a 3-shot. They are terrestrializing. I don't really know why. Because the Necrozma is going to fall asleep anyways. So let's see. Yeah. They're going for the Spore. Sylveon goes first. It is a 3-shot. Oh, that was a crit actually. So yeah, it is a 4-hit KO probably. They have Crunch. They really have Crunch. They really have Crunch on a Calyrex-Ice Rider. Okay, King. Crunch. Out of all things, they have Crunch. How funny it is. Yeah, I knew this Amogus was going to be a problem. And Seed Bomb. Okay, so they're a Salvis probably. That's why they have Crunch. Makes sense. Makes sense. And in a Salvis set, that makes sense. I thought for a moment it was not a Salvis and they just had Crunch because, like, why not? So their moveset was Seed Bomb, Crunch, obviously Glacial Lance, and something else. Maybe like High Horsepower or Close Combat. But yeah, if it's a Salvis, that obviously changes the perspective on the Crunch. You obviously have 4 moves. You want Glacial Lance and maybe High Horsepower, and then you can put anything on the other 2. But yeah, it was a tough one. Let's be honest. The Sash Urshifu, I lost the Ogerpon. I didn't have a way to respond to the Spore. And I could have stayed and not set up Trick Room, but because he went for Electro Web, it just kind of forced me to set up Trick Room. That is a little bit unfortunate. Like, it was Life Orb Electro Web, which is not very common, but yeah. Let's get into game number 2. And we found our second opponent of the day. Let's see what we have to face in this second game. It's a Calyrex-Shadow Rider team, but it has Clefairy and Blood Moon Ursaluna, Raging Bolt, Chi-Yu, and Ogerpon Cornerstone. So, there's no Trick Room in this team. Unless the Calyrex has Trick Room, which It's a possibility, but I think it's very unlikely. So that probably means that the Ursaluna... I've seen, like, in non-Trick Room teams, I've seen Ursaluna to just be a Solvest. That could be the case here. There's a Blood Moon Ursaluna next to a Raging Bull, so Raging Bull is also another Pokemon that wants a Solvest. But the main issue here is the Calyrex with the Chi-Yu. Because they can literally just go for Snarl. I kind of want to go Annihilape, but at the same time, like, they have Sturdy and a Ghost type. I think I'm going to go with this. And then, like, Torkoal Sylveon. Yeah, the Clefairy is also probably something they bring just to help them to take less damage, and at the same time, it might have After You. Could be a slow Clefairy with After You to play against Trick Room teams, potentially. But let's see. The opponent leads with Clefairy and Calyrex. Okay. So... I don't really want to go for a Trick Room just yet. Because if I set it up now, I might regret it later because it's gonna, you know, just end sooner. I think I'm gonna go for Expanding Force and Helping Hand. Yeah. Because Calyrex-Shadow doesn't want to face two normal types. And currently, I only have one normal type on the field. But that's going to change in a moment because I'm going to have two normal types. Our opponent is actually Terrastellizing, which is very nice because I actually went for Expanding Force. It's Terra Ghost. Is Terra Ghost Calyrex? Okay. That means it's probably offensive. The question is, are you going for Astro Barrage? Are you going for Astro Barrage, my friend? Or what are you going for? Helping Hand from Indeedee. Let's see if there's a Helping Hand from Clefairy. Or just follow me. Helping Hand from Clefairy. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Shadow Ball. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry, but I thought about this scenario and, you know, this is my plan. Now I Trick Room. Now I Trick Room. They might switch into Chi-Yu. Now I definitely Trick Room because now I can Expanding Force and Trick Room because the Calyrex is probably going to switch out. If it has Shadow Ball, that makes me think it is Specs. That is expected. They cannot get KOs against normal types, and they, for some reason, just don't want to continue playing. They just forfeit. GG to our opponent. Let's get into game number 3. And we found our next opponent of the day, PTP from 1349. It's another Calyrex-Shadow Rider, but has Registeel. Calyrex-Shadow, Urshifu, Talonflame, Fluttermane, Registeel, and Ogerpon, Wellspring. So, because there's an Ogerpon Wellspring, I imagine that is a Dark Urshifu. You usually don't want both on the same team. If it's Dark Urshifu, I might need to lead Ogerpon. Because if I lead with Indeedee, it's just going to go down. And I don't want Indeedee to go down that early. I'm going to lead Wings, and I'm going to lead Ogerpon, I think. And then I'm going to have Torkoal in the back. Do I bring Indeedee? I think so, yeah. Yeah, let's bring Indeedee. Let's bring Indeedee and let's bring Torkoal. Obviously, there's a Registeel, so we want Torkoal to be able to do a lot of damage to it. And let's see, the Talonflame is interesting. I don't think Talonflame has anything to do in this particular matchup, but it is interesting to see Talonflame next to Calyrex-Shadow. I think Talonflame is a Tailwind setter that has access to Feint, if I'm not mistaken. So, Calyrex Urshifu. It is Dark Urshifu, right? Yeah, it is Dark Urshifu. So, I'm going to Terra here and go for a Trick Room. And I'm just going to follow me here. I think. Just sack Ogerpon. This is why I didn't want to lead with Indeedee. Because, you know, there's a chance they just lead with Urshifu. And there's Urshifu switching out into Registeel. Into Registeel. And they're not terrestrializing the Calyrex-Shadow Rider. Okay. This Registeel might have Body Press, which is not great. Obviously not great if I'm terrestrializing into a normal type. Yeah, Astral Barrage. Okay. So now the question is, are you Sash Calyrex? Are you Sash Calyrex or not? Because I could just go for a attack, but I think that Calyrex is choice specs. And I'm considering switching out into Torkoal, but I can also just IB Cudgel. Or honestly, I can just Wood Hammer. They switch out. Into Ogerpon. Iron Defense. Yeah. That was expected. So Ogerpon goes down. The issue here is that, of course, Body Press from this thing is probably going to KO Lunala. Don't Wings Necrozma. Sorry if I keep saying Lunala. Sorry, Don't Wings. And maybe the Urshifu is actually Sash. It is Sash. So I'm going to Moonguy's Beam here. And I'm going to follow me. What if it's expanded? I can't lose both here, right? If it's banded, I cannot KO Urshifu. If it's banded Urshifu, okay, he went for Detect. I just went for Follow Me and Moonguy's Beam. Let's see how much damage this does to Registeel. For Body Press. Like, in this situation, Prism Armor actually helps because it's going to make the Body Press to do a little bit less damage. A little bit less damage. 25% less. That is around 40%. It's respectable. It's respectable. So now we bring Torkoal, right? We bring Torkoal. And we should be good to go. The Urshifu is probably Sash. Two turns of Trick Room. You could Sucker Punch the Necrozma. I think I'm gonna switch into Indeedee. Just go for option. Because there's a Calyrex in the back, I want to keep the normal type Necrozma here. Let's see what they do. They might tear the Registeel here or just protect. Stall a turn. I could have attacked into the Urshifu with Necrozma. They switch out the Urshifu. They know how valuable that can be. Of course. That's their win condition. They just protect here. Let's see how much damage this option does. Around 90%. Like 80 something. That's pretty good. However, Registeel is going to Terra now. Probably into a water type. Last turn of Trick Room. So I'm just going to Helping Hand here and go for option. There's a Terra. Let's see if the Calyrex actually protects. Because if it's not a choice spec Calyrex, it just protects here. Oh, it's a Dragon type Registeel. Okay. So of course it's going to resist. I was expecting water, but let's see. Helping Hand from Indeedee. And there's no protecting the Calyrex. Still did a lot of damage. Let's see, who do you target into the Torkoal? Okay. Trick Room is over. And the Urshifu is Focus Sash. And I still have Necrozma in the back. I think I'm just gonna Dazzling Gleam here and go for Weather Bowl. We can blow into Indeedee. Yeah, Indeedee's not surviving that. Body Press into Torkoal. Torkoal should take this. Yeah, 5 HP. It is Focus Sash Urshifu. That was suspected. So now, I wish this Necrozma had Dazzling Gleam. This is the crucial turn. I can't survive a close combat, I think, because of Prizz Armor. It's only 2 times super effective. Even if it's like Adamant Urshifu, I should survive. So I think they can attack Torkoal. So they could protect Registeel and close combat in Necrozma. I win if that happens. But if they attack Torkoal and I attack into the Registeel protection, I lose. Because next turn they can double into my Necrozma and I can only KO 1. Let's see if they protect. They didn't protect. So we KO the Registeel here, I think, with Expanding Force. I went for Expanding Force because it's stronger. Yeah, we KO that Registeel. And then it's going to be Urshifu against Necrozma Dawn Wings. Against normal type Necrozma Dawn Wings. But I'm full health and I have Prizz Armor. So I should survive this unless they crit. Please don't crit me. Those combat comes off. Necrozma does survive. This is one of the few scenarios where the ability actually works, but the ability works because we are terrestrialized into a normal type, right? Because it's only 2 times weak to fighting. If it was a regular Dawn Wings Necrozma weak to Dark or Ghost, 4 times weak to those moves, even with a 25% reduction, that would probably help much. But yeah, GG to our opponent. That was a great game. That was a great set, honestly. Yeah, props to them. Nice team. Registeel. Haven't seen it in a while, but let's continue with our next match. And we found our next opponent. Someone from 650 rating. He's using a Miraidon team. Oh no, this is one of the worst teams to face because they get rid of our terrain. They have Light Screen and Whimsicott sometimes, so your Torkoal doesn't do that much damage. Iron Hands with the Assault Vest. Fire can have Imprison. They can reverse the Trick Room. Dark Urshifu. It's a tough matchup, honestly, for this. I was practicing against this a little bit, and I don't think I won. Maybe I won 1 out of like 4 times against this thing. Okay, so how do I want to approach this? Assuming they have the Livestream Whimsicott that I've seen around lately. I think I can trade. Like, I can go on Annihilape and trade something and just, like, Trick Room. Then, like, Dawn Wings plus Torkoal. Yeah. I think Sylveon could be okay as well, but I don't know. I feel like Sylveon just goes down from an Iron Hands Heavy Slam. Even though I do have a lot of defense with the Sylveon, Iron Hands and Electric Terrain is just going to KO it with Heavy Slam. So that's why. I mean, if they don't have Heavy Slam, then Sylveon would be 100% better. They go Dark Urshifu. I think the Dark Urshifu is not Sash, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. If it's not Sash, I can just final Gambit it. Get rid of it. But honestly, Urshifu is not a problem for Torkoal. Miraidon is a problem for Torkoal. So if I final Gambit the Urshifu, I can trick him with Indeedee without terrestrializing. If I final Gambit the Miraidon, I need to terrestrialize Indeedee. I think I'm gonna do it. They switch out Miraidon into something that was suspected. Into Iron Hands. Okay. We're gonna see if this Urshifu is Choice Banded or not. That's for sure. And a Gambit, Iron Hands should survive this. Yeah, because they have a higher HP than an Annihilape. But that is free damage in Iron Hands. I will take it every day. Wicked Blow, how much are you doing to Indeedee? That feels like banded damage to me, if I'm being honest. Let me see real quick here on my calculator. Indeedee, I went for Terra Water. Banded Urshifu. How much did it do? It should do 76 to 91%. So we took 117. That is not Choice Band damage. That is not Choice Band Urshifu. But that might be Black Glasses. That might be Adamant. That is Adamant and got the highest roll. Or one of the highest rolls. Let's see. We're just gonna option Dazzling Gleam. They switch out Urshifu into Miraidon. I suppose so Iron Hands can go for a fake out. That is still okay. Fake out into Torkoal. Some chip damage. Iron Hands actually goes down from this. Wow. I thought it was going to survive. But Miraidon took no damage. Obviously, he's an Indeedee clicking Dazzling Gleam. Like, it's not going to be a lot of damage. And here's the thing where, like, things get a little bit tricky. How many Trick Room turns do we have? 3. They could protect with Urshifu or just Sucker Punch. I can Dazzling Gleam and Eruption. I'm going to go for Eruption and follow me. I think they're going to protect. They're Terrasalizing the Miraidon. The Urshifu into a Terradark. Okay, if you're making this play, you're clicking Sucker Punch, right? Like, you're not just going to let me Eruption Dazzling Gleam. That would be weird. Yeah, they're going for Sucker Punch. That's why. And they were Focus Sash, yeah. So I'm glad I didn't go for the Final Gambit into the Urshifu. Bolt Switch into Indeedee should be enough. So yeah, we might just lose this as expected. The Urshifu just goes for Sucker Punch. There's Fraygraph here. I have to make a prediction here. Because they just Sucker Punch Necrozma. The only move I can use that is not a attacking move is Trick Room. But if I do that, I'm going to reverse my own Trick Room. So do I predict them protecting to scout for my Necrozma to do something else? And just attack? I'm going to click Trick Room. Yeah, they try to get it off. So we eliminate Urshifu here, and we do a lot of damage to Fraygraph, but we're going to reverse our own Trick Room. And then Miraidon is just going to come and click, you know, electric moves. Oh, but they revealed their... Oh my goodness. It worked out amazingly because I clicked Trick Room and they clicked Trick Room. So my intention was to just be immune to the Sucker Punch this turn, but actually worked out perfectly because now we have 4 more turns of Trick Room. Like, I knew this could happen, I just wasn't sure my opponent is actually going to click it. So now we just go for a, like, we assume that this thing cannot protect this choice specs, right? So we just Eruption Moonguy's Beam. The battle was cancelled, my friend. This is one of the few times that I win against this kind of teams. It's really tough. Honestly, the opponent could have just protected the Urshifu and like foul play the down wings, and then next turn go for a Sucker Punch, and then Miraidon just wins. But he just tried to go for the Trick Room, and it was my only option. Like, as I said, I could have predicted them to protect and try to double into the Fraygraph. but I didn't want to risk it. So I mean, eventually I had to risk something. I risked the other option, but yeah, that's how Pokemon works sometimes. So GG to our opponent. That was a great video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. That helps me a ton. And yeah, let's continue with more battles in the next episode. Until next time, guys. Peace.